Hello, and welcome to coverage of the Primordial Discord Tournament number 4. I'm Caillou. Today we're going to be watching the Swiss round 1 match between Aliquanto, who is on a blue-black War of the Spark control, and Slayer 3000, who appears to be on some crazy alpha build. He's going to go turn 1 Dark Ritual, Soul Ring, Soul Ring? And god, Drain Life is not as good as I thought it was with these soul rings because you can only use black mana for it. But it looks like Slayer is on MonoBlack alpha control. Paralyzes removal. Royal Assassin functions as a repeated removal. So yeah, it's gonna run that out turn 1. The Howl from Beyond seems kind of sus, but I guess with fast mana you can just surprise boink your opponent out of nowhere. But yeah, if Slayer's only real threat is the Royal Assassin, I think Aliquanto should be able to take care of it in short order. So I'm going to run out the Erratic Visionary. This can block the Royal Assassin while Aliquanto waits to draw into Obnix's Cruelty. But oh my god, Slayer going all in on these powerful alpha cards. Has the Sinkhole. Fortunately for Aliquanto, does not have the second land to play it, so it's just going to pass. So Aliquanto drawing into a Kasmina, so doesn't yet have the ability to kill this assassin. And Slayer top decking a Drudge Skeleton. If Slayer can keep up the black mana for it, a pretty good threat versus Aliquanto's deck, even though it's only a 1/1. But there's the Obnix's Cruelty finally. Oh, isn't going to run out, I guess. Is thinking that none of Slayer's threats are immediate must answer, and so would prefer to run out the Kasmina instead. So Drudge Skeleton number 2 for Slayer, just kind of widening up his board, but once again, leaving himself vulnerable to having these killed while he doesn't have regeneration mana up. The thing is, though, Aliquanto can't really attack, because as soon as Aliquanto attacks, Royal Assassin will just, in response to attacks, just kill whatever Aliquanto attacks with. So yeah, he's going to run into Obnix's Cruelty this turn, going to kill the Royal Assassin, and now can swing in for free with the Erratic Visionary and the Wizard. And Slayer can't block because doesn't have the mana to regenerate the Drudge Skeletons. And then main 2, going to run out Erratic Visionary number 2, and now Aliquanto has all the card selection in the world. And then discarding cards is actually fine, because as soon as Aliquanto gets another instant or sorcery engrave, Bond of Insight becomes live. And Slayer with the Terror. The problem is that Aliquanto's board is wide at this point, and like Aliquanto has redundancy. So what would you even kill with this Terror? So yeah, Slayer's gonna pass for now. And I think this is the problem with Alpha as a set, is that the delta between the good cards and the rest of the set is so huge that you have some good bombs, but then like just everything else is just mediocre and or middling. Aliquanto just going to run out the Callous Dismissal. It can be fine running this out aggressively because of his current board, and because he doesn't exactly lose card advantage with this, because even if Slayer plays a must answer threat next turn, Aliquanto just goes Bond of Insight, recur Callous Dismissal, do it all again. So he's going to block the Wizard and then Terror the other Wizard. So Drudge Skeleton still dies, but Slayer only takes 2 damage there. And I don't know, does Alpha have wipes? Because if not, this is going to be a problem. And yeah, Aliquanto is going to run out the Bond of Insight. Oh, and gets to return another Bond of Insight off of it, and probably going to grab an Obnix Cruelty as well. Yeah, that is a very powerful hit for Aliquanto. Meanwhile, Slayer seems to have milled Hypnotic Spectre. That's definitely another great alpha card. Has the potential to go turn 1 Hippie Spectre off of Dark Ritual. That would be quite powerful. And I think that's the problem with Slayer's deck, is that outside of the Hypnotic Spectre, it looks like doesn't quite have the threats that you need. I think Slayer's deck is the type where you kind of are going to be okay with letting your opponent resolve some mediocre threats. You just need to have something better, and then you just answer all of their good cards and leave them with their mediocre ones. The problem is none of Slayer's threats have evasion other than the Hypnotic Spectre, so that doesn't quite work out. So yeah, Aliquanto's going to run out the Obnix Cruelty on the Drudge Skeleton, and then going to Bond of Insight once more. Gets back an Aid the Fallen, the Callous Dismissal. Did he mill Jace? Yeah, it did mill Jace, so that's why he's gonna use Aid the Fallen to get back the Jace, which is one of Aliquanto's rares and one of Aliquanto's main win cons. And Slayer with the Terror, but unfortunately that Terror isn't a hero's downfall, so will not be able to answer this Jace. Once again, he's going to play out the Terror, kill another wizard. Still gets doinked for 3 by the zombie army plus erratic visionaries. Then main 2, Aliquanto is going to re-grab the erratic visionary and Jace. Then now can play out Jace as a card advantage engine. And another drain life for Slayer. Without a second black mana, lots of these cards are just dead in Slayer's hand. He's going to get pinged for 3 once more. Honestly, the problem is, even if Slayer has some way to, like a Wrath to answer Aliquanto's board, Ashiok plus Jace means that Aliquanto basically wins in 2 turns with Jace's static anyways. So yep, he's going to run out the Ashiok, and I think Aliquanto can rely on the fact that Alpha as an old set will not have direct ways to answer Planeswalkers other than creatures, which so far Slayer doesn't have good enough creatures that Aliquanto has to be worried about Jace dying. So yeah, next turn, Aliquanto wins both by combat damage and through Jace's trigger. And there's a Hypnotic Spectre for Slayer, finally. Still does not have the double black for it, though. So he's going to paralyze one of the erratic visionaries. That is not going to stop Aliquanto from winning next turn, though. So yeah, Aliquanto just pays 4 for the paralyze, and then swings in with everything. That's game 1. And yeah, Slayer's deck seems like it can do like lots of powerful broken stuff. Like, I'm assuming turn 1 Dark Ritual, Hypnotic Spectre just ends games versus a lot of decks. When it's forced to play a fair game or when its opponent stabilizes, it looks like it's going to have trouble. And Aliquanto just has so much recurring card advantage with the Bond of Insights and Aid the Fallen that, like, yeah, I don't know how Slayer's going to keep up without, like, one of those explosive turn 1 plays. Might even just have to hard mulligan for something broken turn 1. Okay, getting into game 2, it looks like Slayer is going to have a broken opening, is going to go turn 1 Dark Ritual, Soul Ring into Hypnotic Spectre. How is Aliquanto going to answer this? Slayer is going to get in at least 2 attacks, or actually, he's going to get in 1 attack with it, and then it gets Callous Dismissaled and then Obnix Cruelty'd. So maybe not as backbreaking as I thought. Slayer now can Dark Ritual, Sinkhole, Drudge Skeleton really put Aliquanto behind. So Aliquanto discards a Spellkeeper, weird. But yeah, it looks like Slayer is going to just go Dark Ritual and runs out the Drudge Skeleton, and then the Sinkhole on the island. So now Aliquanto can't answer this Hypnotic Spectre for 2 more turns. And if Aliquanto happens to randomly discard the Swamp off of the Hypnotic Spectre, I think it's gonna be backbreaking. So he had to swing in for 3 with the Hypnotic Spectre and Drudge Skeletons. Okay, discards the Obnix's Cruelty, which is painful, but not the end of the world, as long as because now Aliquanto can play the Swamp, Callous Dismissal the Hypnotic Spectre, and then try to stall out to draw into another Obnix's Cruelty or Bond of Insight. Oh, okay, so it has stabilized a little bit. And geez, Dark Ritual number 3 for Slayer. Doesn't need a second black mana if you can just keep using this single swamp for Dark Rituals. So yeah, Slayer's like, fortune favors the bold and the aggressive. Just gonna Dark Ritual number 3 and Hypnotic Spectre hits the field once more. I guess could also have run out, no couldn't have because it's double black, never mind. Aliquanto's gonna run out Toll of the Invasion. Slayer discards the Pestilence, and then Aliquanto makes the zombie into a 2/2, so can now attack over the Drudge Skeletons. Or I guess since Aliquanto's in the defensive, is probably going to just keep it back as a blocker. Oh no, yeah, is going to attack over. And the Drain Life for Slayer, but does not have black mana for that, so it's just going to go swinging again with Hypnotic Spectre. Aliquanto discarding Kesmina. That is kind of a problem because that's probably Aliquanto's best way of digging right now. So the question is, Ashiok or Erratic Visionary? I feel like you just play the Erratic Visionary right now because Ashiok doesn't really help when you don't have a recursion piece. Still is going to run out the Ashiok Dream Render. Might be worried about a Demonic Tutor from Slayer. Or I guess, oh, is going to try an alt win con. So he's going to mill Slayer out for 4. And finally, the second swamp. That is literally the first time Slayer's had a second swamp this entire game. So he's going to swing in with the Hypnotic Spectre. Aliquanto's forced to discard this Erratic Visionary. And top deck land is emphatically not what Aliquanto needed there. So Ashio gonna mill Slayer out for 4 more. And ouch, Nevin-Rial's disc, that's definitely a wipe. And also has a Mind Twist. So yeah, this deck is definitely aiming to do some very powerful stuff. It has a Terror for the Zombie Army token. And with that can just kill Ashiok this turn, which I think is probably the best play that Slayer has available. Okay, he's gonna swing both at the Ashiok but not using the Terror. I guess is just gonna let the Drudge Skeleton. Oh, it's just gonna let the Drudge Skeletons die. Isn't even gonna regenerate it. Main 2 is gonna drain life on the zombie token. Aliquanto top decks a Callous Dismissal for the Hypnotic Spectre, which is gonna help him for another turn. Gets back a zombie army. Gonna use Ashiok's last loyalty to mill Slayer for 4 more. If Aliquanto hits another Ashiok or a Jace, could potentially mill Slayer out of the game. But for now, Hypnotic Spectre returns, and Aliquanto is just stuck top decking lands. After that starting game, hand which had few lands and lots of playables, Aliquanto's just been run out of playables by this Hypnotic Spectre, and then these is now drawing the lands that he probably needed at the start of the game. Ooh, so he's gonna Howl from Beyond the Hypnotic Spectre. Yeah, that increased the clock on Aliquanto by a huge amount, but finally Aliquanto hits the Obnyx's Cruelty. The Hypnotic Spectre is no longer bounced, it's just dead. And could Aliquanto stabilize and bring this back? Well, there's still another Hypnotic Spectre waiting for him somewhere in Slayer's library. Oh, and the Drain Life. Slayer can wait, and then as soon as Slayer hits a third swamp, drain life Aliquanto out of the game. But for now, it's just going to zombie army in. Or Sengir Vampire definitely works as a win con. Yep, here it comes. And if Aliquanto doesn't immediately top deck an answer here, Slayer just wins. And that's another swamp. And yep, we're going to a game 3. And yeah, the classic Dark Ritual Hypnotic Spectre, nothing to scoff at. And especially in the control mirror, the ability to just tear your opponent's hand apart is so valuable. And yeah, even though Aliquanto kept hitting those answers, just it wasn't enough to overcome the card disadvantage that he was facing. And he got pretty flooded. But yeah, let's see how game 3 goes. Will Slayer get another crack start with the Black Lotus or the Dark Ritual? Or will Aliquanto be able to just slow and steady win the game with the overwhelming card advantage of Bond of Insight? Okay, getting into game 3 right here. And Slayer once again has Dark Ritual and Hypnotic Spectre. And with Aliquanto having no removal in hand, this is going to be backbreaking. So Erratic Visionary coming out from Aliquanto can use that to dig. Slayer can just keep terroring the creatures that Aliquanto has while swinging with his hippie. Discarding the Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. Yeah, and that the problem is that is one of Aliquanto's playables. Aliquanto does have Aid the Fallen to potentially get it back. For now, I think hitting the Jace is definitely strong. Aliquanto top decking another Erratic Visionary, but Slayer has another Terror. So he's going to swing in with Hypnotic Spectre again. If this hits Kasmina, or it does, yeah, if this hits Kasmina, and it does, Aliquanto has no playables next turn. And just to make certain of that, Slayer's going to run out the Terror on the Erratic Visionary once more. Knows that Aliquanto doesn't have any high impact creatures, so he's just going to swing for the fences. Aliquanto top decks the Callous Dismissal. Hypnotic Spectre is going to be on the back burner for another turn. But now that Slayer has 4 swamps, doesn't need to waste the Dark Ritual on the Hypnotic Spectre. You can just run it out, yep. And still has Drain Life as a big answer, or big reach spell with the Dark Ritual. Oh, and yet another top deck from Aliquanto, the Obnyx's Cruelty. Aliquanto's deck is making it up for him compared to last game. Sorry, baby, I know I gave you all lands last time, but I've changed. So Slayer's just gonna run out the Drudge Skeletons. Can use this to block the zombie army, I guess. But ooh, Aliquanto has the Tyrant Scorn for that as well. But as long as Slayer has 2 mana up, can't really use that, so he's gonna wait for Slayer to tap out in some capacity. And for now, just a Soul Ring and pass. I think Aliquanto does win the long game here, though. And speaking of which, yeah, Bond of Insight is definitely... I think this is the best card in Aliquanto's deck, arguably. Yep. And so can use this to get back the Obnix's Cruelty and Callous Dismissal. Oh, or maybe Dish double Obnix's Cruelty is good enough. Oh no, he's going to bring back a Callous Dismissal. I guess the Callous Dismissal is so that Aliquanto can build up the zombie army, or if the zombie army gets killed, just get another one. Slayer, though, will have the Paralyze, which can put Aliquanto very much off his tempo. Oh, and the top deck Aid the Fallen? Aliquanto's getting everything he needs. So as soon as he hits another land, can Aid the Fallen and then immediately play Jace, and I think that just ends the game. Oh, he's going to run out the Aid the Fallen now, in fact. Grabbing back Erratic Visionary and Jace, and then just going to play an Erratic Visionary and pass. Another Hypnotic Spectre for Slayer, but yeah, if he runs this out, it just gets immediately Crueltied. So he's going to Dark Ritual and then Drain Life something? No, he's going to rerun out the Hypnotic Spectre, so why did Slayer use the Dark Ritual? Just for the memes? I guess also to have mana for Drain Life. Okay, so he's going to Drain Life the Erratic Visionary. But yeah, Aliquanto doesn't even need to use the Obnix's Cruelty yet. It's just going to Callous Dismissal the Hypnotic Spectre. And then, oh, and can use this top deck Toll of the Invasion to take it out of Slayer's hand. Ugh, disgusting. And so, I was going to leave the Hypnotic Spectre and is going to take the Paralyze. I guess doesn't want to be put off tempo by that spell, and it's like, I have the Obnix's Cruelty anyways. Might as well just take this removal spell for my 3/3 win con. So yeah, Slayer isn't going to run out the Hypnotic Spectre, but like, has to at some point. Doesn't have any... I don't think... I guess Slayer's out is to Mind Twist Aliquanto and then hope to discard the spells, but another top deck Toll of the Invasion for Aliquanto is going to stop that. And then now the zombie army swings in for 4. Slayer can just keep chump blocking with the Drudge Skeleton, regenerating it for now, though. Oh, and the Drain Life. So can now, I think has just... Oh no, it's actually 1 mana short of being able to Drain Life the zombie army. Oh yeah, if only Slayer had 1 more mana, could Drain Life and kill the zombie army. But yeah, now Aliquanto's just going to Obnix Cruelty the Drudge Skeleton, and can't regenerate from that, and now the zombie army can just swing in for 4, putting Slayer on a 5-turn clock right here. And in the meantime, next turn Aliquanto can run out Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, while also holding up Tyrant Scorn. Oh, but the top deck Swamp for Slayer means that does have enough mana now to Drain Life and kill the zombie army. Unfortunately, with Slayer empty-handed and just like out of relevant cards, I think this Jace is just going to come down, and Aliquanto is going to start milling out Slayer. Another Drudge Skeletons for Slayer. I think this probably just gets insta Callous Dismissaled. Or doesn't even need to do that, can just Erratic Visionary, and that's a blocker. So yeah, he's going to +1 Jace on Slayer once more. Oh, and can now Aid the Fallen, get back an Erratic Visionary and Kasmina. And he's going to run out the Kasmina, and then can use the -2 to add a blocker for the Drudge Skeleton, and do some looting. And runs out the Erratic Visionary. So yeah, I don't know how Slayer deals with the resolved board like this. He's going to try, has the Sengir Vampire, which honestly is relatively hard for Aliquanto to deal with because he needs an Obnix's Cruelty, both of which are in his grave, so he needs a Bond of Insight. Or actually, oh, never mind, I forgot about this Enter the God Eternals, which Aliquanto top decks off of the Kasmina. Obnix's Cruelty number 3? Oh yeah, I forgot, this is a common, huh? Yep. Is gonna just run out Enter the God Eternals, killing the Sengir Vampire. And yeah, I think that was only hope of Slayer stopping this Jace. Does Slayer have another Sengir Vampire? Okay, I guess probably has access to another in his deck, but now Aliquanto has the Obnix's Cruelty to be able to permakill it, and I don't know that Slayer can come back from that. And yeah, that Howl from Beyond is going to be useless without a creature to use it on. Unless, of course, Slayer wants to be a good sport and use this Howl from Beyond on one of Aliquanto's creatures. DJ's coming down to mill Slayer for a little bit more. Slayer's now on 2-turn clock. And just milled the second Sangir Vampire. So yeah, I think this game is outside of his reach. And yeah, Aliquanto's going to swing out with everything. And in response, Slayer is going to Howl from Beyond, buffing up the zombie army by a bunch. Good sport, Slayer. Good sport. And that's game. Oh, good games to both players. But Aliquanto on blue-black war control takes it over Slayer on alpha mono-black control. You know? Oh, and Aliquanto is going to be cheeky. He's just going to alt Jace for the stylish finish. But yeah, I think in the end, despite Slayer's blisteringly fast starts, ultimately Slayer's card quality varied wildly, while all of Aliquanto's cards furthered his game plan in one way or another, and they all just gave Aliquanto the iterative value he needed to be able to grind Slayer out of the game. But both these players had really cool decks and game plans, and I think they'll both prey on other decks in the current tournament in different ways. So I'm excited to see how they perform going forward. But yeah, until then, this is Caillou signing off.